examples of improper house rules in publishing. So improper house rules are kind of imposing one's own how they live when in somebody else's house. I thought publishing was kind of the perfect arena or area to kind of talk about it, because online publications, if somebody's reading them on their computer in their house, then the article can literally be enforcing the author, the writer of the article's house rules, literally in somebody else's house by virtue of the fact the article's been being read in somebody else's house. And that's the same for magazines, books, periodicals, so like newspapers, that kind of stuff. So, what are two kind of examples? I'm going to choose two where it's kind of a majority group bullying or picking on a non-majority group. So majority means more than half. So the first is a specific type of Christian. So a Christian is someone who practices Christianity. And I've encountered this type in a workplace setting, and what they tend to do is they will either lie and say they're agnostic, or they will lie and say they're atheist, and then push at Christmas time and Easter time, push Christmas and Easter, and then they'll go to church and sometimes bring that culture in. So they're lying, they're improper and liars. Improper liars? No. They're improper and they are liars. So I've had at least one supervisor who was that type, and that also happens in the press. Why is it improper? So it's improper because it's a form of discrimination based on religion, and the type of discrimination it is, / harassment that it is, I've actually worked in this area, and it is a prosecutable crime, is creating a hostile environment. So especially in work settings, it'd be creating a hostile work environment. So I'm talking about a specific type of Christian that it's pretty common in like online publishing or periodicals. The writers will say, oh, we're agnostic, or this publication is agnostic. And then around Christmas time, they start putting out publications. Why is that improper? Well, that in and of itself is not necessarily improper. It's the asymmetry in how holidays are treated. So I'm going to specifically go with the kind of most blaringly one that I use, and is very common I've encountered in swimming, and especially American-based swimming publications, like swimming only or aquatic sports only, is propagation of, so these publications will say they are agnostic or atheist, and then put out articles either directly mentioning Easter or going to church, or quotes from people reading from the Bible and attacking other swimmers with those quotes from the Bible. They love to do that kind of stuff. So, and after claiming to be agnostic or atheist or impartial, and then or propagating Easter or Christmas. So what the problem is, the asymmetry in the treatment of religion. So what they'll do is they do that for Christianity, and then I am a Muslim, and so this is one that like I've kind of picked up on because of my friends who practice Judaism. So they'll pick on Judaism, the religion, in Israelis and stuff like that, and they'll do that by completely omitting Hanukkah. They won't put out any Hanukkah themed articles, and what they'll do is they'll use certain slurs against people who practice Judaism in their articles, and only cover people who practice Judaism in relation to their religion or religious sporting events or stuff like that, which is really inappropriate because it's just them trying to monetize off of other people's religions without ever giving due respect to the religion. And so this is an example of improper house rules, because they're putting out these publications expecting people to be reading them in their home when the people reading them in their home practice Judaism. So it's trying to convert people in their own home, which is very unaccepting behavior of people who are different than themselves. And that comes after lying about being agnostic in the first place. So it's dishonesty. and that kind of thing. So that's the first example, it's religion. Second example is sexual orientation. So this one's really common in America and very common in the swimming, American-based swimming press. Also very common in United States of American-based swimming press and Australian-based swimming press. And that is the heterosexuals will lie and say they are homosexual or bisexual to try and suppress true love from people who are actually homosexual or bisexual. I am asexual. Asexuality and pansexuality are two of kind of the lesser known. So an example used against people like me is heterosexuals will lie and say the A in the long acronym for all these different sexual orientations means ally. It doesn't. The original meaning is asexual. So heterosexuals like to impose their own culture on others, which is kind of, as I have observed, it kind of feels like a loveless culture, because why is it improper to do stuff like that? And then a lot of heterosexualities won't even bring up the pansexuals. So they just choose to completely omit reality in that sense. The really improper one is phrasing heterosexuals and pretending to be bisexual or asexual or gay or lesbian or transsexual or transgender just to sell, to get views, to get reads, to get listens, to sell whatever they're selling, be it a newspaper or a magazine or whatever, or a subscription or a membership. They just want to make money. They're money making machines, and they're like, we don't care that you're reading this in your own house, and this looks nothing, this heterosexual pretending to be, for example, like a lesbian, looks nothing like true love for lesbians. They don't care. It's not about love. It's about trying to impose heterosexuality and convert the people that they're misrepresenting intentionally. And so I consider that improper because I believe in true love and I fight for true love. And a lot of these publications are just like, screw true love. We're going to misrepresent this to make money and impose heterosexual culture on everybody else to try and suppress true love in other settings. So it's a very loveless thing, heartless, betrayal, because then it's kind of all predicated on betrayal. The heterosexual wants to pretend to be something else and then be like, oh no, I'm actually straight and I was never gay, that kind of thing, or I was never a lesbian. And then it's about betraying, oh, she's off the market. She's kind of like, she was never on the market in the first place, like kind of thing. And yeah, so that's improper, trying to impose sexual orientation and one's own idea, or this is what love should look like on other people in their own house via a publication it's kind of inappropriate. It's improper, right? As some people get very triggered by this and use much stronger terms. I think improper is kind of, I think, a fitting term. So those are two examples of improper house rules in publishing.